Errol Spence Jr. is set to make its comeback fight against Tszyu. This is a pretty dangerous fight for Errol Spence Jr. I mean, a couple of years ago, I would favor Errol Spence Jr. over Tszyu all day. But we don't know where Errol Spence Jr. is at physically or mentally. But we do know that Errol Spence Jr. is coming back to boxing. Boxing has really missed Errol Spence Jr. Even his haters missed him. They won't say that they missed him, but they really miss Errol Spence Jr. because they always talk about Errol Spence Jr. But it's good to see Errol Spence Jr. coming back to boxing because he adds depth to the junior middleweight division. He has depth. I'm not saying that he may be one of the top fighters there. I don't know. But I do know he has depth. He's another name that will excite the other fighters at the division to want to fight him. And Errol Spence Jr., listen, if Errol Spence Jr. comes back and dominates Tszyu, Errol Spence Jr. will put himself back into a potential mega fight with one of the champions there. And I'm excited to see Errol Spence Jr. I really am. Errol Spence Jr. is not a bad person. He's not a bad fighter. He's actually a pretty fun fighter to watch. And I can already hear the criticism towards Errol Spence Jr. for fighting Tszyu. We know when it comes to the FBA or so-called BA American fighter, no matter where they're at in their careers, they can't take on beatable opponents. They have to take on opponents that guarantees a victory over them. So we know there's going to be some criticism towards Errol Spence Jr. for fighting someone like a Tszyu. Okay, I can already hear that coming. I can already see that coming. People are going to be very critical of Errol Spence Jr.'s choice of opponent. But I like this fight. I like this matchup. Well, Tszyu is sort of tailor-made for Errol Spence Jr. And I expect Errol Spence Jr. to either put on a show or beat up Tszyu pretty bad. Now, I follow Errol Spence Jr. on his Instagram, and he's posted some pictures here and there, and he looks like he's in tip-top shape. And he's been in tip-top shape. Well, it looks like he's been in tip-top shape for a month, almost for a whole year. So while we've been riding, Errol Spence Jr. off and ignoring him, he's been in the gym training, and this is good. This is what boxing fans will want to see from their favorite fighter. We want to see our favorite fighter put in the work while no one's paying attention. And I think that he's going to go in there go into this fight with a little chip on his shoulder. We all know what happened in his last fight with Bud Crawford. We've seen Bud Crawford, put a whipping on Errol Spence Jr. and every fan just, make it seem like that his loss to Terrence Crawford is the highlight of his career, even though Errol Spence Jr. was a former unified world champion before he got to Bud Crawford. So Errol Spence has been disrespected. He's been disrespected because of his one loss to Terrence Crawford. And I know that's in the back of his mind. So I'm sure he's going to come into this fight or back into the sport with a chip on his shoulder. And that's good. That's good. We want to see Errol Spence fighting with a chip on his shoulder, fighting like he has something to prove. And to me, I think we're going to get a better version and a more mature version of an Errol Spence Jr. and a healthier version. So I'm excited for Errol Spence Jr.'s comeback fight.